the Muslims themselves believe, or ourselves believe, that jihad and nafs, or the struggle with the personal ego, is the greatest jihad. And I know of children that are 5 years old that are learning about this concept. As for learning about the rules of war, I doubt that we'd find too many children outside of occupied lands such as Palestine learning about these concepts much below the age of 18 or 17, aside from some, I guess, broad allusions in the biography of the Prophet, ﷺ, and also in learning the Quran itself.
Well, later on tonight, at some point, we're going to, probably not too far from now, we will have the opportunity to show some videos that are of children in the Middle East that are speaking primarily Arabic and are talking about the things of jihad at a young age, violence, and the things that go with it. And we will show that a little bit later. It's again, tonight's program, the title, Innocent Child to Jihad Warrior. So if I could just clarify, just for me and anyone else that might be in the same boat, Abdullah, did you say that that it wasn't below the age of 18 that these types of beliefs are taught? Is that what you were saying? If I missed that,
As I said, if we're going to talk about the rules pertaining to warfare, then yes, I sincerely doubt that outside of occupied lands such as Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan, I sincerely doubt that there would be much emphasis on the rules of war below the age of 18. But if we're going to talk about jihad warrior, well, as I said, jihad and nafs, or the struggle of the ego, is something that we would be teaching to 5-year-old children. So we would have 5-year-old children that understand the broad concept of jihad. Remember that jihad means struggle, but we wouldn't have 5-year-old children or 10-year-old children outside of the occupied lands that I mentioned that would be familiar with the concepts of warfare.
Okay. Well, either of you gentlemen want to make a comment on what Abdullah was just sharing with us? Anything in contrast, or is that?
Yes, I mean, he mentions several things. He says that I'm being convenient about my explanation of jihad, and he says that, wait a minute, Walid, I mean, there is people who die for the cause of Allah by drowning or through fire. We all learned that as Muslims in the youth, even, that any Muslim who dies by drowning is a shaheed. But the question I have is, how many Muslims die shaheed by drowning and through a fire in some building versus shaheeds that are dying through jihad warfare? It's infinitesimal. So why does he focus on the infinitesimal issue when it comes to martyrdom while he ignores the big picture? He says that basically jihad is self-defense. May I ask him if Tariq ibn Ziyad committed jihad against Spain in self-defense when Islam took over Spain? I think you can find hardly a historian that would say that Tariq ibn Ziyad was in self-defense against Spain when they invaded Spain, including Egypt, including the entire region at that time. Why isn't he arguing with Al-Azhar University professors and leaders? These are the top notches of the Muslim scholars who define martyrdom, jihad, and struggle through warfare, including suicide bombing against Jews in Israel. So I think he is being deliberately kind of playing the apologist, and I wish I could find these Muslims who really want to be honest in this issue. He talks about jihad al-lisan. There's different types of jihad. There's jihad al-nafs. And I'm afraid that jihad is broken down into 3 stages, as we all learned it. Jihad al-qalam, jihad al-mal, jihad al-nafs, which is jihad by pen, which is exactly what the Muslims apologists are doing here in the U.S. and in the Western world. Jihad al-mal, in which Kamal Salim can tell you his own account of collecting funds for jihad operations, literal warfare, that is. And I think he is basically trying to cover up this reality of Islam I don't think he's being naive at all. I think it's part of dealing with the Muslim apologists. It's always the case. They always want to harp on Christendom's sins, yet they never confess any sins. I've never sat with a Muslim who confessed some sins, says, you know what we did in Spain was wrong, what we did in Egypt was wrong, what we did in occupying these lands was wrong, I think jihad aggression is wrong. There is no confessions in the Muslim world. Maybe he can point us in Islamic history and share with us some of these confessions on mishaps during Islam's history, what they did wrong.
Waleed, I appreciate that. I suspect that Abdullah would like to respond. We're going to take a break here in a minute. I think we've kind of whetted the appetite here of everyone in this studio and perhaps you who are watching at home. We will take a break. Before we break here for a couple of minutes, I just wanted to remind everybody tomorrow night we're going to be having our News and Views program with Pastor Joseph, and that is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for that. That's tomorrow night, another live talk show with Pastor Joseph, who does a wonderful job here at ABN. But we will take a quick break. This is Chris, and we welcome you back to Jihad Exposed as we get back into the program. Again, stay tuned to make your calls at 248-416-1300 as we investigate the child, as we go, I have to cheat here, innocent child to jihad warrior. And we'll be right back.
لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقاتل المسلمون اليهود فيقتلهم المسلمون فيختبئ اليهودي وراء الحجر والشجر فينادي الحجر والشجر قائلا يا مسلم يا عبد الله هذا يهودي خلفي تعالى فاقتل إلا الغرقد فإنه من شجر اليهود.
Jihad has come to America.
Constitutes the most devastating series of terrorist attacks in history.
The only deen Allah accepts is Al-Islam. And whoever seeks any other deen apart from Islam will never be accepted.
Allahu Akbar!
We stand together to win the war against terrorism.
But you too will make your destruction.
Welcome back to the show, Jihad Exposed. And before we get too far into this next segment here, I'm going to introduce Pastor Ken, who is going to talk a little bit here about our upcoming new English channel that we're preparing to provide funds for, and also for the current fundraiser. So, Pastor Ken, it's all you.
Good evening and welcome to ABN. I hope you're enjoying the show tonight. And our goal at ABN through these next 2 weeks of the Jesus for Muhammad Marathon is to raise $400,000 to launch a new English channel by the end of January, the beginning of the beginning of February 2011. Now, this is a very large task before us, but it's something I believe with God's help and your help that we can do. Because first of all, I believe nothing is impossible with God. And secondly, I've been with ABN since the beginning, and I've seen you as viewers step up to the challenge and provide with God's help the money needed to move forward in this ministry. I remember just shortly, 3 or 4 years ago, when ABN was just in a small studio, and we felt the need that this ministry was expanding so large that we needed to get a bigger building and more studio room. And so we put it out to you, the viewers. And we said we would like to accomplish this with your help. And I remember we were looking at buildings to lease. And you as viewers said, no, we don't want you to lease a building. We want you to buy a building. And so we had a fundraiser for 2 weeks to raise funds to buy the studios that we are in. And we raised over $400,000 and paid cash for the building that you see us in today. And so I know it can be done with your help. Will you help us? Will you partner with us? Go to your phones and give us a call. I was joking with one of the guys on the phones tonight, and I said, my job tonight is I want to keep you busy with viewers calling and donating to ABN. So will you help me out with that and keep them busy? Please call us at 248-416-1300. You can also give many ways. One is by check. If you just write simply to ABN and send it to P.O. Box 724, Walled Lake, Michigan, 48390. Or you can go online to www.abnsat.com and click on the Donate to Button link at ABN there. Or you can call us again at 248-416-1300. We accept Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. So will you help us? Will you partner with us in this ministry of starting this new English channel? May God bless you. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Pastor Ken, for giving us that information, that update. Indeed, I worked the phones the other night, and we had a lot of callers. I think people are realizing that it does take a lot of resources technically and in manpower and in woman power to put together these type of programs, as well as provide all the administrative support in our offices, in our studios, all the equipment, all the resources we have, all the things that we're using just to put on this 2-hour show. Does cost money, and we do appreciate your support, and God bless you for all the people out there that have been providing that support. God bless you. Well, we do have an additional person here, the one I mentioned up earlier, Dr. Mordecai Kadar. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He's an expert on Islamic studies, as I mentioned before, and he's a professor at Bar Ilan University. He joins us all the way from Israel, and we're going to give him an opportunity to speak. Professor Mordecai, are you there? He might be there, but I just can't hear him.
Definitely, I'm with you, guys.
Okay, good. All right, well, thank you for your patience. I know it's, I think, kind of early in the morning or late at night there, but we do appreciate your time. And just to refresh everybody's memory, we are talking about the innocent child to the jihad warrior. That's the program topic tonight. Dr. Kadar, can you talk to us briefly or in any way, what is your experience with jihad, and have you experienced any type of a jihad movement in children? Have you seen it? Have you heard about it? Might be a kind of a loaded question there, but what has your experience been? Can you talk to us about that?
Well, here in Israel, we experienced very bloody years of jihad, which was waged against us, either during the 2000s or even before the first Intifada. And these waves of martyrdom, of jihad, shahada against us was accompanied by a very, very well orchestrated wave of propaganda which was designed to justify it. I think that the two most prominent components of this propaganda was about to say what is this world, the dunya, and what is the next world, the akhirah. The comparison between both worlds actually was designed to push those kids to perform terrorist attacks, while the dunya, this world was depicted as some kind of temporary life. Anyway, you are going to grow up and to die and to be buried. So why do it in vain? Go to blow yourself in an Israeli bus, and then you have eternal life in heaven, instead of living in this world, which anyway you are going to die. Go to die in a very, very heroic way with some Jews whom you can kill as many as you can. This is one thing. The second component of the comparison between this world and the other world was the description of this world. This world was depicted as a very miserable thing, very miserable life, which we Arabs and Muslims have in this world. While if you go to heaven, you have all the goodies which heaven provides you with. You can have fruits of heaven. You have the crown on your head. All your sins are being cleansed the minute you detonate yourself, and you are being married with 72 virgins who are clean and there is no period and they don't have to eat and they are always waiting for you, and you have the manpower